Hello and welcome back to Horoscope TV.
Huh.
I am just absolutely thrilled to be back behind the microphone today because the energy we are looking at is, frankly, it is electric.
Oh, it really is. It is good to be here.
Yeah, and if you are a Gemini or, if you have a Gemini in your life who you are trying to figure out, and let's be honest, that is usually a full-time job in itself.
Always a full-time job.
You are definitely in the right place.
Yeah.
Today, we are laser focused on analyzing the month of March 2026, specifically for the sign of Gemini.
Right. And I think March 2026 is a really fascinating case study for Gemini. It is not just a standard monthly transition where things just sort of tick along.
No, not at all.
The astrological data actually suggests a very distinct chapter change. We are seeing this specific narrative arc in the planetary placements that moves from really intense internal pressure to a massive external release.
Exactly. And for you listening, I really want to set the stage here right out of the gate. This isn't just going to be, a list of dates where we tell you not to sign contracts on a Tuesday or whatever.
Right. We are looking at the bigger picture.
We are going way deeper. We're analyzing a month that seems to be completely defined by this tug of war between some serious, high-octane professional ambition and a necessary restructuring of your social circle.
That's the perfect way to frame it.
It feels like a survival guide to navigating these major career moves while figuring out who your real friends actually are.
Yeah, if we look at the high-level themes, March is really characterized by tension. But I want to be clear that it is a productive tension.
Okay, productive how?
Well, we have Mars entering Pisces, which fuels ambition in a very specific, almost stealthy way. And we have Mercury, the ruling planet of Gemini, finally going direct, which brings much-needed clarity.
Oh, thank goodness.
And then we have this very heavy, significant meeting between the Sun and Saturn that basically creates boundaries. So our mission for this analysis is to really look at these transits, the eclipses, the conjunctions, to help you aim high without burning out.
And to help you distinguish the true friends from the distractions, right? Because looking at the data, that seems to be a huge part of this.
Precisely. It is really about the professional spotlight and the social test. I would say that is the absolute headline for March.
The professional spotlight and the social test. I love that. Okay, let's start unpacking this. We have a few key players on the board. We mentioned Mars, Mercury, and Saturn, but there's also a specific pivot point in the month, right?
There is.
I was looking at the charts, and March 20th seems like the day where everything just flips.
It does. March 20th is the hinge. The first half of the month has a lot of drag or resistance due to retrograde energy and the eclipse we will talk about.
Right.
But once we hit the 20th, it is like a slingshot release. The energy shifts from delays to rapid acceleration. But to understand why that release feels so incredibly good, we really have to look at the pressure cooker that starts the month.
Okay, let's get into that pressure cooker then, because I want you to picture this. You are standing in the middle of a room. On one side, there is a door marked Career Empire, and it is wide open blasting music inviting you in. On the other side of the room, there's a door marked Social Circle, but standing in front of it is a bouncer with a clipboard who looks suspiciously like your strict high school principal.
Oh, wow.
And in the middle, you are just trying to fix a leaky pipe while your phone is blowing up with bank notifications.
That is uncomfortably specific, but honestly incredibly accurate based on the data.
That is March for a Gemini. Let's kick off with the first 10 days. So March 1st through the 10th. This section is all about career drive and ambition. And it starts almost immediately, doesn't it?
Yes, March 2nd. This is one of the most significant shifts for Gemini this year, actually. Mars moves into Pisces.
Right, right.
Now, normally when we think of Mars, we think of aggression, war speed. It is a very fiery, aggressive planet. But Pisces is a water sign. It is intuitive, emotional, vast.
So what does that actually feel like for a Gemini? Is it like trying to run underwater?
Not exactly. Think of it more like a submarine. It isn't the frantic, choppy energy of Mars in a fire sign where you are just banging loudly on the front door. It is a deep, swelling drive. The data suggests this is a massive green light for your career, but it is a specific kind of career focus.
Like a behind-the-scenes thing.
Well, it puts a spotlight on your public image, actually. You aren't just doing the work, you're being seen doing the work. The drive here isn't just to complete daily tasks. It is to succeed, to climb, to conquer big challenges.
So it is very ambitious.
Highly ambitious, but you do it by going deep beneath the surface and popping up where no one expects you.
That is so empowering. So it is not about checking emails faster or grinding. It is about the big picture.
Correct. The analysis shows that because this is happening in Pisces, the how you succeed really matters here. Pisces governs creativity, vision, and intuition. So for Gemini, the way to get noticed by higher-ups isn't by following the manual
Oh,
perfectly.
no, of course not.
It is by bringing a creative solution to a stale problem. It is about showing that you have a vision.
So if you are sitting in a meeting on March 3rd or 4th, don't just sit there taking notes. Pitch the weird idea.
Or pitch the weird idea, exactly. The implications are that creativity and problem solving is going to be highly visible. This is the time to follow a vision rather than just execute tasks. Aim high. The data is practically screaming at us, don't play small during the first week. Mars in Pisces rewards the artist in the boardroom.
Okay, so we have this massive go, go, go energy in the career sector. But then, literally the next day, March 3rd, the universe throws a massive wrench in the gears.
Yes, the lunar eclipse on March 3rd.
Yeah.
And this is that pattern interrupter I mentioned earlier. While Mars is up in the career sector saying, advance and create, the lunar eclipse hits the zone of home and family.
Oof, that sounds like a major conflict.
It is a classic conflict of interest. Lunar eclipses tend to bring things to a climax or an ending. They reveal what has been hidden.
Right.
Occurring in the domestic sector means that while you are trying to launch your empire at work, something at home demands your immediate attention. It could be a literal mess like that bursting pipe you mentioned in your analogy, or an emotional one like a family conflict that finally boils over and can't be ignored anymore.
It is the classic, I have a huge presentation tomorrow, but my basement just flooded scenario. Or maybe I am up for a promotion, but my partner needs to have a serious talk about our living situation right now.
Precisely. The challenge here is balancing those professional goals with personal chaos. You cannot ignore the eclipse.
No, eclipses don't like to be ignored, do they?
No, they just get louder and more disruptive.
So what is the advice here? How does a Gemini navigate that without completely losing their mind? Because Gemini energy can get really scattered when there's too much input.
The advice is actually quite practical. Clear the domestic clutter to clear the mind.
Clear the clutter to clear the mind.
If you try to push through the work goals while ignoring the home situation will likely sabotage you. The data suggests you need to wrap up the stressful home situations first, fix the leak, have the difficult conversation, clean the house.
Just get it done.
Yes, because once that energy is resolved, it frees up the bandwidth you need for those Mars-driven career goals.
Right. It is really about triage. Deal with the home stuff so you can get back to being a visionary at work.
Exactly. Don't let the domestic drag anchor you down. Cut the cord, fix the problem, and then ride the Mars wave.
Okay, moving on. We get through that intense first week. We handled the crisis at home. We pitched the big idea at work. Now we move into the second phase of the month, which is the turning point.
Yes, March 11th through the 20th.
And this starts with some very welcome news, doesn't it?
It certainly does.
Yeah.
March 11th, Jupiter goes direct.
I feel like I can hear a collective sigh of relief from everyone listening. Jupiter is the lucky planet, right?
Jupiter is the planet of expansion, luck, and abundance. For a while, it has been retrograde in Gemini's money sector.
And what does that do?
Well, retrograde Jupiter in the financial house usually manifests as stagnation. Checks that are in the mail but never seem to arrive. Deals that stall at the absolute last minute. A general feeling of, why am I working so hard for so little flow?
Oh man, that is frustrating. But on March 11th, the dam breaks.
The dam breaks, the stagnation ends. Our analysis indicates a strong sense of financial flow returning. Those delays in payments will resolve.
That is fantastic.
But it is more than just catching up. Jupiter brings true abundance. There is potential here for unexpected bonuses, or perhaps realizing a totally new way to increase your daily earnings. It is a very, very optimistic transit.
So the bank account is finally looking better. Good news for the bank account is always welcome. But then we hit the middle of the month, specifically March 15th and 16th, and things get kind of volatile. We have Mercury involved here.
Yes, Mercury is the key player here. And remember, Mercury is Gemini's ruling planet, so Geminis feel these transits much more acutely than other times do.
Right, they're super sensitive to it.
So on March 15th, Mercury joins Mars. Now remember where Mars is.
In Pisces, right. the career sector.
Right. But Mercury joining Mars is like adding a turbocharger to your mouth. It creates very fast, very passionate speech.
Oh.
The mental processing speed ramps up significantly. You want to declare feelings boldly. You want to speak your truth right now.
That sounds good in theory, though. Passion is usually a good thing.
It is good until the next day, March 16th.
What happens then?
Mercury squares Lilith.
Lilith. That sounds ominous. Can we break down what Lilith actually represents in the chart for people who might not know?
Certainly. Lilith represents raw, primal energy, often associated with rebellion or the things we repress in society. It is the wild woman archetype that absolutely refuses to submit to authority.
Okay.
A square is a harsh aspect. It creates friction and tension. So you have this intense speed and passion from Mars on the 15th, and then suddenly you hit the brick wall of Lilith on the 16th.
That sounds like a crash waiting to happen.
It is a crash. This introduces a very high risk of sharp words, sudden arguments, or saying something you really cannot take back.
So the passion turns into aggression or snarkiness really fast. It is like the difference between saying, I feel strongly about this project, and saying, you are an idiot for not understanding this project.
Precisely. That is exactly the shift. The advice here is absolutely crucial. This energy is great for bold declarations, but terrible for sensitive conflicts.
Got it.
If you are in a delicate situation with a partner or a colleague, the data says stop, breathe, think carefully before you speak.
Think carefully before you speak. That should be tattooed on every Gemini's arm for the middle of March.
It would save a lot of trouble, I assure you, because
Yeah.
hurt feelings caused during a Mercury-Lilith square tend to linger for a long time. It taps into very deep-seated resentments.
Okay, so we navigate the minefield of mid-March without ruining our relationships, hopefully, and then we arrive at the promised land, March 20th, the Great Release. You called this the pivot point earlier. What exactly happens on this day?
It is a dual event, which makes it doubly powerful. First, Mercury goes direct. Yes, the retrograde period ends. The fog lifts. All those little communication glitches, the misunderstandings, the tech issues, they just vanish.
Just like that.
Just like that. Mental clarity returns instantly. It is like putting on glasses after walking around in a blur for weeks.
And at the same time, something else happens.
At the same time, the sun enters Aries.
Aries season begins.
Yes. And for Gemini, the sun entering Aries lights up the social sector of the chart. So you go from this internal career-focused, slightly domestic, crisis-heavy energy directly into high-octane social energy.
The vibe shifts completely then.
Completely. It is all about connecting with friends, attending fun events, sharing those brilliant ideas you cooked up earlier in the month. It marks the definitive shift from internal processing to external expression.
So literally March 20th is the day to book the happy hour.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The energy supports it perfectly. Get out there.
That brings us nicely into the next section of our analysis, which is relationships and the social test. Because while the sun in Aries says party, there is another planet lurking in the background that says, wait a minute, hold on.
That would be Saturn.
Saturn.
And this brings us to the most serious part of the forecast regarding relationships. We are looking at March 21st through the 31st, but specifically March 25th.
The friendship audit. That sounds like a corporate HR meeting, but for your besties.
In a way, it really is. On March 25th, the sun meets strict Saturn in that exact same community sector we were just talking about.
Okay, and Saturn is the heavy hitter.
Saturn is the planet of structure, discipline, boundaries, and reality checks. When the sun, which illuminates things, meets Saturn, which restricts or defines things, you get a stark reality check regarding your social circle.
What does that look like in real life for you listening?
It looks like realizing that the people you are partying with might not be the people who are actually there for you when things get tough.
Oh.
Or realizing that certain friends are just not supporting your growth. Perhaps they are secretly jealous of that career success you have been building. Or they just want the old Gemini who didn't have boundaries and always said yes to everything.
Ouch. That is heavy. That is a really tough pill to swallow.
It is heavy, but it is entirely necessary. The expert analysis here is that this is a moment for culling. It is a day to set firm boundaries. It is about focusing entirely on quality over quantity in your friendships.
It sounds a bit lonely, to be honest. Doing a friendship audit creates a very transactional view of your relationship.
It might feel lonely initially. Saturn transits often do bring a sense of isolation, but the long-term result is a stronger, much more loyal circle. You are weeding the garden so the healthy plants can grow.
Yeah.
You simply cannot carry dead weight if you are trying to fly.
That is a brilliant way to look at it. Growth requires pruning.
Always.
Now let's pivot to something a bit more fun, hopefully. Romance. How is the love life trajectory looking in March?
It follows a very interesting trajectory that directly mirrors the energy of the planets. Early in the month, specifically March 6th, Venus enters Aries.
Aries is fire. Aries is bold and fast.
Correct. And since this is happening in the social sector, we see a massive friends to lovers potential.
Oh, I love that trope.
It is very strong here in the data. You might suddenly develop really strong romantic feelings for someone you previously only saw as a casual friend. Or because Venus is in Aries, the hunt itself becomes exciting.
So people are feeling bold.
Very bold. Group events and parties become the prime hunting ground for romance. If you are single, say yes to all the invitations in the first half of the month.
But then, just like everything else we have talked about this month, it shifts at the end.
Yes. On March 30th, Venus moves into Taurus.
Taurus is very different from Aries. That is a huge gear shift.
Night and day. Taurus is Earth. It is stability, comfort, sensuality. The energy quiets down significantly.
So the chasing stops.
The frantic, exciting chase of Aries is totally replaced by a desire for privacy. It is a shift toward reflection on your own emotional needs and really just recharging your batteries.
So early March is meeting someone at a loud, packed concert. Late March is staying in and ordering takeout with them on the couch.
Exactly. For couples, this late-month transit is actually beautiful. It supports peaceful, intimate moments at home, completely away from the noise of the outside world. After the social culling of the 25th, you'll actively crave that safe, private intimacy.
That sounds really lovely, actually. A nice reward after a super busy month. Now, I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier, but we really need to drill down into it. We talked about career ambition, but there's a specific leadership and innovation aspect to this month, too.
Yes, the theme of professional leadership and innovation is huge. We have two key dates to look at here, March 19th and March 25th.
Let's start with March 19th. We have a new moon.
A new moon in Pisces. Remember, Pisces is where all that Mars action is happening, driving your ambition. A new moon is always a time for seeding for beginnings. Occurring in Pisces, this is the massive fresh start.
A fresh start for what, exactly?
For the career path. This isn't just about taking on a new project at your current job. This is perfect timing for launching a totally new business setting, entirely new professional goals, and the data strongly supports this, changing your career direction entirely.
Wow. So if you have been sitting there thinking, I absolutely hate this job, I want to be a graphic designer, March 19th is the day to buy the software and make the leap.
Yes, make the leap. And the key factor here is trusting your intuition. Pisces is not a logical sign, it is a feeling sign.
Right.
The logic might say stay safe, stay at the boring job, but the gut feeling says jump. The analysis suggests that during this new moon, the gut feeling is actually the more accurate data point.
Trust your gut over your spreadsheet. Got it. And then we have March 25th again. We talked about this regarding auditing your friends, but you said it affects the career sector too.
It does. The Sun-Saturn conjunction is in the networking and community sector, but it connects directly back to your professional standing. This is what we call the leadership test.
The leadership test.
Saturn is the ultimate taskmaster. When it meets the Sun here, you might be asked to take on a serious leadership role, perhaps managing a complex team or heading up a difficult committee. It is not just a fancy title, it is a heavy responsibility.
It sounds like a ton of work.
It is hard work. Saturn demands patience and discipline. But the reward, and this is the crucial part, is that success here brings massive respect.
Real authority.
Exactly. It opens long-term doors. It is the kind of hard work that builds a reputation that lasts for years.
So the advice is step up. Don't shy away from the responsibility on the 25th, even if it looks intimidating.
Step up and embrace the weight of it. It will pay off.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground. Career, love, friends, boundaries.
Yeah.
But we need to talk about the risks. We have a whole section here on health, wellness, and finance risks. Let's talk money first, because we had that great news about Jupiter going direct, but there is a trap, isn't there?
There is almost always a trap when Jupiter is involved. On March 18th, Venus squares Jupiter.
The two good planets squaring off. What does that actually mean for the listener?
Well, it means too much of a good thing. Venus loves luxury, and Jupiter loves expansion. When they form a square, they heavily encourage excess. We call the specific transit the financial pitfall or the fun tax.
The fun tax.
Yeah.
That is dangerously catchy.
There will be a huge temptation to overspend on social events. Since the social sector is really heating up, you might feel pressured to buy the expensive VIP tickets, the brand new outfit, the round of premium drinks for everyone at the bar.
So it is peer pressure spending.
Exactly. The psychology here is wanting to fit in or keep up with the excitement of the Aries energy. But the advice is very simple. A polite no thank you saves immense financial stress later.
Just say no.
Do not let the euphoria of the moment wreck the budget you just managed to get back on track with Jupiter going direct.
Wise words. Save your money. Now, what about the body? We have Mars in Pisces pushing us. We have that draining eclipse at home.
The physical maintenance is critical this month. We actually have a burnout warning in the forecast.
A burnout warning.
The March 3rd eclipse combined with that relentless Mars drive is a perfect recipe for sheer exhaustion.
Mars says go, 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 and the body says please stop.
Correct. And because Mars is in Pisces, the energy is fluid, not rigid. It is not the best time for rigid, high-impact, CrossFit-style workouts that just punish the body.
How interesting.
The solution offered by the data is small bursts of movement.
What does that look like practically on a Tuesday afternoon?
Taking the stairs instead of the elevator, doing desk stretches, pacing or walking while you're reaching a phone call. The goal is to keep the energy flowing so it doesn't stagnate, but absolutely not to deplete your core reserves. You need to prevent muscle stiffness, which in turn keeps the mind sharp for all those career moves.
So keep moving, but keep it gentle. And what about protecting your overall energy levels?
That becomes absolutely critical in the late month. When that heavy Sun-Saturn conjunction hits on the 25th, you have to practice saying no.
More boundaries.
Always. Overcommitting leads directly to depletion. You need to aggressively prioritize sleep and nourishing foods. I know it sounds basic, but under these specific transits, it is the foundation that keeps your whole structure from collapsing.
It all comes right back to boundaries again. Boundaries with your friends, boundaries with your money, boundaries with your own physical energy.
It is the absolute defining theme of the month.
All right, for the really fun stuff, the cheat sheet. I love this part of the analysis. If you are a Gemini, who should you be hanging out with this month to maximize your luck?
Looking at the charts, the data points to one very clear winner, Leo?
Leo. Really? Why Leo?
Synergy. Leo is a fire sign ruled by the sun. They are always ready to lead the party, which matches that Venus and Aries energy perfectly. When Gemini might feel a bit confused or overwhelmed during that watery Pisces new moon, Leo provides the exact confidence boost needed.
So they are your personal hype man for March.
Exactly. And there is a specific date to watch, March 22nd.
What happens then?
The sun meets Neptune. This is a highly creative, almost magical day. Leo brings the raw passion. Gemini brings the brains and the brilliant ideas. It is a truly magical collaboration.
I love that. Find a Leo and make something really cool on the 22nd.
Yeah.
Now, on the flip side, who should we avoid? Who's the ultimate vibe killer for Gemini this month?
Unfortunately for this month, it is Virgo.
Sorry, Virgos.
Huh.
Why is it such a bad match right now?
It is the strict teacher dynamic. The lunar eclipse happens in Virgo on March 3rd. That makes Virgo energy hyper-focused on details, rules, and cleanliness.
And Gemini just wants to run free and brainstorm?
Exactly. The friction really peaks on March 14th when Mars squares Lilith. Gemini wants options and flexibility. Virgo insists on absolute perfection and doing it the right way. It completely kills the Gemini vibe.
So what do we do?
The advice is simply to avoid working closely with them this month. They will focus on duties and chores while you desperately need playfulness and vision.
Good to know. Just give the Virgo some space this month. Let's hit the lucky data quickly before we wrap this up. What numbers and colors are we looking at?
Okay, get your pens ready. The color of the month is yellow. Specifically, color code FFFF00.
Oh, wow. Very specific. Bright electric yellow.
Yes, bright and electric. The best dates are March 6th, when Venus enters Aries, March 20th, which is the Great Release, and March 22nd, the creative peak with Leo.
And the numbers?
The lucky numbers are 5, 14, 23, 31, 40, and 55.
5, 14, 23, 31, 40, and 55. Got it. Wear bright yellow on the 20th, avoid Virgos, find a Leo.
That is a perfect summary.
This has been absolutely incredible. But before we sign off, I want to leave everyone listening with a final provocative thought. We have talked about all this massive ambition, the intense social shifting, the money, the burnout. But there is a very quiet note right at the end of the month that I think is really important to focus on.
Yes. The shift of Venus into Taurus on March 30th, I think it prompts a truly fascinating reflection.
Let's hear it.
After a whole month of high-speed career growth, after the exhausting emotional labor of auditing your friendships and setting all those hard boundaries, what does comfort actually look like to you?
Wow, that is a great question. What does comfort actually look like?
The month ends with a demand for hidden luxuries and total peace, but the key takeaway from the data is you have to earn it by handling the Saturn tests earlier in the month.
Right, you can't just skip to the end.
No, you can't. If you do the hard work of setting those boundaries on the 25th, the peace you feel on the 30th will be profound. If you skip the work, the silence might just feel incredibly empty and lonely. So you have to define what comfort means to you and fight for it.
That is so powerful. Earn your peace. Define your comfort. Well, thank you so much for breaking this all down for us today. This has been a fantastic look at March 2026 for Gemini.
It was absolutely my pleasure. It is a very complex month, but an incredibly rewarding one if navigated correctly.
Absolutely.
Huh.
And thank you to everyone listening. We really hope this guide helps you navigate the professional spotlight and totally ace that social test. Thank you for tuning into this episode on Horoscope TV. If you enjoyed this, please make sure to subscribe so you can get notified when the next episode is available. We will see you in the stars.
Goodbye, everyone.